by the way, I want you to stay there so we can bring in the rest of the panel right now. We've got Jan Morgan, Eric Guster, Charlie Kirk, Bob Vander, Plaats, and Gina Loudon. Jan, let me go to you first. Certainly a very chaotic scene. You know, here's the thing. We know that this whole thing has been ratcheted up throughout the entire election cycle, but the notion of stopping free speech, I think, isn't lost on anyone, no matter what your political persuasion.
No, it's not. And actually, you know what, this whole thing, as much as it makes some people cringe, I think that in the long run, this is good for America, because what it does, number one, it helps Donald Trump. Anytime law-abiding citizens see anarchist thugs, not just peacefully protesting, but rioting and hitting people and creating problems and vandalizing, that only gets people off the couches and into the voting booths to vote because they're sick of seeing this. And it also draws out all the cockroaches, all the things that are wrong with America you're seeing in that video, and that's why they're so scared of Donald Trump. He's going to change this. He's going to fix America.
Bob, I know you're a Ted Cruz guy, but I know you're also a strong conservative. And when you see these images, particularly those from last night, we're going to show some a little bit later, they were even more violent, where a police car was attacked, a Trump supporter left on a stretcher with a bloody nose. Do you think that it's good for America in the sense that it's cathartic, that it's sort of open kimono, we see what's really going on here? And do you think it also helps Donald Trump more than your guy?
Well, I think it's always good to have a healthy discussion, a healthy dialogue, a healthy debate. But when you go to the place where you're destroying property, you're injuring people, or you're threatening people's lives, that's not healthy for anyone. And I think what you're seeing, Charles, is a real collision of emotions. You have the left who don't want to debate anything on an intellectual level. It's all on emotion. And you got Donald Trump, who's really tapped into the emotion of the American people of saying Washington is broke. But I think what it points to is that America wants leadership today, and that's why I think it helps out Ted Cruz, because they see a principled conservative with a real concise plan of how to turn this country back around.
Gina Loudon, this is your neck of the woods. You want to take responsibility for this now?
I tell you what, it's interesting, Charles, because I live in a predominantly Hispanic area, and I would have a lot of trouble if you called me and said, I want to talk to somebody who's not supporting Trump. They may not want to admit it publicly, but if you just are sitting at the beach or at the pier and you look around the tables around you and you say, who are you supporting for president? They'll come up to you every single time and whisper, I have to support Trump. And I'm talking about predominantly legal Mexican immigrants. And so I think that what people don't understand about California, the point that's being lost, is that people who are here legally are the most hurt by the crimes that illegals are committing. And so when Trump talks, he's speaking directly to them.
What do you make, though, Gina? One time you posted something on social media, a picture of the border. You know, it was just like on the beach somewhere. Donald Trump talked about getting into this event. It was like crossing the border. He actually had probably a larger obstacle than that photo you put out there. I mean, is it really that simple just to stroll into California?
Oh, it is. It is. In fact, one journalist asked me if I would help him come down and see how easy it was to cross the border. And he did exactly that. He waited until low tide. He waited out with a huge glowing sombrero on just because he's kind of a comedic person. And it was no big deal at all. And you see this all the time. This is not a hard border to cross. And that's one of the reasons why what Donald Trump is saying is so effective. But here's the other one, Charles. When people are protesting with Mexican flags at an American political event, I don't know what effect they hope to have, but all they're doing is pushing people, solidifying Donald Trump's support.
You know, Eric, I can remember a couple of years ago when a lot of the Mexican students left school. I don't know if you remember that in California. And what struck me is what Gina just said. They had the Mexican flag. Now, you know, listen, they were upset about certain things, but when you have someone, if you're in America, I don't care if you're here legally or illegally, the idea is that you want to be in this country. At some point, you adopt the cultures and you embrace this nation. When you walk around with the flag, the Mexican flag, and then all of a sudden anarchy breaks out, how the hell is that helping their cause? It's a smack in the face, isn't it?
It is not a smack in the face. And any day in any summer in New York, you can see the Italian flag for the Italian parades. You can see the Greek flag for the Greek parades. It's not necessarily a slap in the face.
That honor people's heritage. We're talking about these kids every single day. I mean, walking out of the schools with these flags, they're being educated in an American school on American taxpayer dime.
They have the right to be prideful about their heritage, just like anyone else, just like Italians, Greek, anyone else. Everyone has a right to be prideful about their heritage. And what we're seeing on this tape, what we're seeing with this live feed, with this protest, this is democracy in action. People are sick and tired of the racism that's being spewed, the racist actions that are being deployed by them.
The reaction is attack a police car, punch people in the nose. That's how you even things up.
Oh, are you talking about? Yeah, that's what Trump supporters do to protesters.
We saw last night.
You're right.
I'm talking about what we saw last night.
That's what Trump supporters are doing to protesters. They're punching people in the nose, and he's offering to pay their fees, and they're doing those types of things.
The vast majority of the Trump supporters don't do that. And secondly,
we're talking about the ones that are punching people.
Secondly, no one's saying they don't have a right to have the Mexican flag. We're just talking about what the message they're trying to say.
Okay.
And so here's an American presidential candidate.
And the majority of Mexicans are not.
Look, I mean,
are not
what
illegal.
kind of message do you think it brings when they bring a
Actually,
Mexican flag to an American political event? What they're trying to say is that they're trying to say that the Mexican interests are greater than the American interests. That's the message that they're saying that they're portraying.
No, they're not.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely
Why don't they have an American
not.
flag? Why don't they have an American flag?
Why can't they have their own
heritage flag? No, they can, but why don't they? They can, but why don't they?
This is a great example.
Is that wrong?
1 second, guys. Okay, and listen. The thing is, though, with these protests today, there were a couple of arrests just actually moments before we started the show. At one point, a barricade was broken down. But we also know last night it did get very, very ugly in Costa Mesa, and there were at least 20 arrests. We saw the scenes. In fact, I think we've got some video of it from last night. Jan, this is what people are really concerned about. Again, it is an American rite of passage to protest. But I think these protesters aren't helping their cause, and certainly making a whole lot of people who may have been sympathetic to them think twice.
I don't know, Charles. I don't know that there's anybody really sympathetic to that because, look, when you brought up the whole thing about pride in your heritage, I have an issue with that. I'm sick and tired of people talking about being an African-American or a Mexican-American. If anybody has the right to be prideful in their heritage, it would be me. I'm a Cherokee, but I don't walk around with a Cherokee Nation flag. When you are in America, you are an American, first and foremost, and that's where it needs to stop. I'm sick of the flags from Mexico. I'm sick of all of that. There's no need in flashing them all around. You need to be flashing the American flag or be done with it.